Good morning. God bless you on this morning. I'm in my early morning time where I spend time with God early in the morning. And I began to just think about salvation. That's I've been on this salvation kick in the month of January. And, you know, just thinking about what salvation really means to me. And I got to thinking about how the time when I was in my marriage and I was going through domestic violence and how I was being talked about. Well, my spouse was playing mind games with me and trying to make me believe things that wasn't true. And when I wouldn't go along with that stuff, he would get mad at me and physically abuse me and mentally abuse me. I went through a lot of physical abuse where he was laying hands on me and a lot of mental things trying to control my mind and make me think things that were not so. Trying to make me say things that were not so. Trying to make me say that I was cheating, that I was sleeping around with somebody and trying to make me believe that certain things that I was finding in the house was mine and that I brought them in there and I knew it wasn't true, but he was playing mind games on me and trying to make me believe it and trying to make me think that I was crazy. But anywho, I went through so much domestic violence, so much abuse, even to the point that he shot at me and he would do it many times, do gun plays on me and make me say things that wasn't true about me. And then he would say, I knew it, just doing mind stuff. And I was going through so bad, and I thought about I was gonna commit suicide, and I tried it. I tried committing suicide twice, but you know, by the grace of God, I didn't go. I didn't. It didn't do what it needed to do. I took pills on both occasions, and I had to go to the hospital and get my stomach pumped out. And the first time I was doing it, I was doing it to try to make him feel sorry for me and hoping that would change his mindset about what he was saying and what he was doing to me, and that things would change and get better. But it didn't work like that. One thing about it, if a person got in their mind that they gonna do a certain thing, that they gonna cheat and everything, they gonna do it the best that they know how to do it, and they gonna do everything in their power. I don't care what you say and what you do. In my situation, it was a lot of stuff that went on in my marriage, in my household, that I said I would never put up with. But I said never, because you don't know what you're gonna wind up putting up with, especially when they have instilled a whole lot of fear in you. And I know coming up, it wasn't a lot of fear in me, but when I got in that marriage, that man he did a lot of things to me that caused a whole lot of fear to come up in me, especially with those gun plays and stuff. Who gonna be shot and stuff. So, I was tiptoeing around him and I was trying to see could I change. And women, sometimes we go into relationships talking about we gonna change somebody, this stuff gonna change, but it don't happen like that all the time. Anyway, like I said, I was being abused, hidden and talking and just a whole lot of stuff. And my husband also, I didn't know a lot of stuff. I didn't know he was cheating on me until too close to the end of that marriage. But I didn't know he was cheating. I should have, but I don't know. My mind just wasn't on that kind of stuff. It wasn't on cheating, and it wasn't on. I was just trying to have a marriage because I wanted to be married. I desired to be married. I wanted to be married. I wanted to be married because my parents were married. I don't know. It was just so many reasons that I wanted to be married. I thought it was, well, a good thing, and I wanted to be in it, but I didn't want to be in no marriage with no domestic violence. But anyhow, like I said, I tried to commit suicide, and after that, me trying to commit suicide, I went on down through the times, and I would leave times and I would come back and all of that stuff, and the police. The only thing helped me was the time that he tried to kill me, and the police, they came and they dealt with him. And the only way I got the police in the situation is I had to play like I was going to work the next day. And instead of going to work, I went to the police station and reported him because he had done helped me at gunpoint. Plus, he had done choked me, put me in a chokehold. I had a great big old mark all around my neck. And while he had me up and he had me in a chokehold with his hand around my neck, and I was gasping for air and stuff, and he finally dropped me in the floor. I'm trying to remember this stuff because it happened long time ago. Finally dropped me in the floor, and then he drugged me from the bedroom up to the living room and slammed me up in the chair, and he put the gun in my head and held me there. So then when the morning came, I don't know, a lot of this stuff in my life was happening in the nighttime. Something about the nighttime stuff was going on. But anyway, when the morning came, he finally took the gun off me and let me go to the bathroom and do all that kind of stuff. And he asked me, was I going to work? I said, yeah, I'm going to work. So I got myself together. I didn't go to work. I went to the police station, and I went and got the police, and they came back, and they told me to stay outdoors, and they'll call me in the house when they want me to come in there. So anyway, whatever they did, I found out later they had beat his tail. And they told me when they said, now get your clothes, and we want you to go in there and get enough clothes to be gone for a while and stay away from him for a good while. And I did. I got my stuff, and it wasn't a good while. It was about 17, 18 days. I went and stayed down at my parents' house. But I found out as he was calling me on the phone that he was saying that they beat him. And so, after that time, and like I said, he was calling me. He called me every day that I was down at my parents' house, saying he was sorry, that he wasn't gonna put his hands on me no more, and this and that. And he never did put his hand on me no more after that. After they beat him up, he never put his hands on me no more. Cause I did go back after he kept on begging and pleading and all that stuff. I went back because I wanted to stay in my marriage. I didn't want to be divorced. I wanted to be in my marriage. I just wanted it to work. So anyhow, he never put his hands on me no more, but he continued with the violence, because he continued with the verbal violence, and he wouldn't hit me anymore, but he was hitting the walls and just cutting up and acting a fool. Anyway, I made in my mind that I don't want to be in that marriage again, so I tried to commit suicide the second time. But anyway, when it all boiled down, I said salvation. The reason I said I was saved, because God delivered me. I was ready to just end it all. Like I said, the first time that I tried to commit suicide, I was trying to get him to feel sorry for me and hope it changed. The second time, I was really ready to get up and get out of here. I said, if I got to live with this man the rest of my life and go through this stuff that I'm going through, I'd rather be dead and sleeping in my grave. So I took some more stuff. And that time, I don't know, my sister, I guess I called her some kind of way, because I was on the ground, on the floor, and couldn't hardly move and stuff. And I realized as I was dying that I didn't want to die. So I called her, because I kept telling him, I said, I'm dying. And you need to call the ambulance and stuff. He wasn't calling nobody. Matter of fact, he jumped up and got his little gun and put it on him and went outdoors. He left the door open so I could see him, and went to his car and hid behind his car. I don't know what he was waiting on. I guess he went to the police. I don't know what he was waiting on. Just crazy. But anyway, my sister and family came and got me and took me to the hospital, and they pumped me out, and and got all that stuff out of me. And after that, I started praying. I started praying for God. I said, Lord, the things that's going on with me, I must not be saved. I must not be living right. That's what I was saying to God. I must not be living right. And I said, Lord, please come into my life. Come in and help me. Come in and save me. Come in and deliver me. I started praying for God to come in and change me because I didn't want to be in this situation. I didn't want to be in here where I'm keep trying to take myself out because I knew that committing suicide, I probably was going to wind up in hell. I felt like that. I was taught that you can't ask for forgiveness if you commit suicide. So I didn't want to go to hell. And that's something I knew I didn't. I didn't want to go to hell, even though I felt like hell would have been better than being in that marriage that I was in. But anyway, God came in and saved me. God came in and rescued me and brought me out of that. Because, in the church that I grew up in, Church of Christ, they was telling us that you couldn't divorce a husband if only way you could divorce him is you catch him in adultery, which he was committing adultery. He was sinning. He was sleeping around. He admitted it later on down the road. So that's when I can say it. He was sleeping around. But I wasn't thinking about that kind of stuff. I didn't have enough sense to think about somebody cheating on me and stuff. It wasn't part of me. It wasn't something that I was thinking about. But he admitted to it further on down the road. But anyway, I didn't want no divorce because they said we couldn't, and I'm like, if I got to stay with him the rest of my life, I rather go on and be with the Lord, go on and die on out of here, and just go on to heaven. That's the way I was. But God came in, and He delivered me out of that marriage. God came in and delivered. That man got where he told what he was doing. You could get out of a marriage according to Church of Christ if adultery is committed. And I didn't commit adultery. He committed adultery. And he admitted to it and everything that he had been cheating and stuff and that he was sorry. When people go that route, that's up to you to forgive them. That's just my thoughts and stuff. That was up to you to forgive them. But it's a choice. But you know what? I forgave him, but I didn't want to. I forgave him because I didn't leave him at that time. I went on and stayed with him. He was pleading and crying and doing all that stuff. I had never seen no man cry like that before, unless they were at a funeral or something. I had never seen no man on his knees crying and stuff, and I went for it. I fell for the whole okie dokie thing and went for it. And I stayed and tried to work that thing out, but it wasn't no working out. When you dealing with somebody that's on drugs and stuff, man, that's what had control of him. And that's one of the things I kept trying to look for when I first started dating this guy. Was he on drugs? And he was 12 years older than I was. And I went on and dated him because I said, well, at least he done probably already did all the cheating and all the stuff that he was going to do. See, like I said, that stuff, what kind of stuff wasn't even on my mind. I'm thinking he 12 years older than me. He done did all he going to do. So we going to be good and stuff like that. But it wasn't true. It wasn't true. When you got somebody that's gonna cheat, they just gonna cheat unless God delivered them. This is the way I see things, and this is the way things happen in my life, and this is my testimony. But God saved me. He brought me out of that marriage, and He had told me, the Lord, when I got that encounter with God and started asking God to come in and save me and come in and help me, the Lord did just that. He came in and He saved me. He brought me out of that marriage. Everything came up about the cheating and all of that stuff. Anyway, I stayed in there for 2 more years, but the Lord was with me and He helped me and just started revealing everything, and I saw so much. And when I came out of that marriage, I came out with assurance, and I came out with my life, because if I believe that if I had tried to get out the way I was trying to get out, I wouldn't have made it. I would have died. He had already shot at me and threatening me constantly with that pistol and stuff like that. You know, who, like I said earlier, who wants to get shot? You know, sometimes though in that marriage, I thought it was better to go on. I didn't want to get shot, but I did want to take them pills and get out of here. But God saved me, and when I said saved, He changed my mindset. You know, I no longer wanted to die. I wanted to live, but I wanted to get out of the domestic situation. I wanted to be married, but I didn't want to be in a domestic situation. I wanted to be in a marriage that had peace. And it just wasn't no peace with that. And I had to get out of there. I had to come out of there and I had to stay out because we had a change of heart and change of difference. So when I'm talking about saved, there's a lot of different aspects of being saved. You know, so that was one of my aspects of being saved, is God delivered me out of a marriage that was full of domestic violence. People was mad at me, especially like his family. They was mad at me, but I wasn't thinking about them. They, you know, they let them come and live with them and deal with all that, because he was mistreating them too. He wasn't just mistreating me, you know. And then people at the church that I was going to at that time, they gonna call me, but they wasn't there to help me when I was going through the domestic violence. Wouldn't nobody help me, wouldn't nobody talk to him, wouldn't nobody say nothing to them. They just let stuff happen, you know, because he would attack me in church too. And people, all these men in the church, nobody wanted to have no part in it. Nobody wanted to do nothing. That was sad back in that time and that day. Nobody would help, nobody would say nothing. They just let that man do what he wanted to do. And I'm like, man, I ain't got no kind of help. Now, I could have really got some help. I could have got some help from my family, but I didn't want them in there because, you know, with you put your family in stuff, then it's all this mess. And then when it's over, you and that person is back together again, your family's still holding that stuff against that person. Y'all done decided to work it out, and your family's still mad at them. And then I got brothers, and my brother would have took them. My dad would have took them out, and that's another reason I didn't tell them until it was all over, because I didn't want nobody doing nothing to him. They could have handled that situation for me, and I knew they would have, but I didn't want it to happen like that. I wanted that man to get delivered and get set free, but he didn't want that. He didn't want salvation, because once I really got into God and really, he told me he didn't want to go that route. He told me I don't want to be no saved, and I don't want to serve God like that. He wanted to serve God the way he wanted to serve God, which was half-hearted. You know, he wanted to go to church and be a deacon or whatever he was, but he wanted to still do what he wanted to do. But anyway, that was that story. But God saved me. He came in. When you talking about being saved, talking about delivered you and set you free from something you couldn't deliver yourself from, and set yourself free from. So that was a thing that I could not deliver myself. I tried many times, but it was so much fear he had invoked, or however you call it, so much fear upon me that I was scared to leave and scared to stay. You ever been in that kind of situation where you're afraid to leave and afraid to stay? But when God came into my life, when I invited God into that situation, that thing changed. And I didn't walk in fear with him no more after God came in. Matter of fact, the Lord sent him packing, sent him running. The Lord sent him running. And when I finally caught up with him later, it was a year later, and he told me there was a big old white thing standing behind me, and he don't know what kind of woman I am, but he don't want to have no more dealings with me. And that was in that he hung up that phone, and I never talked to him another day. Only time I didn't even talk to him when I got a divorce. The lawyers handled all that stuff. That was about a couple of years later after that. But that joker took out running and hollering and screaming when the Lord, that's how I learned that God have angels watching over us. And he was trying to describe that angel to me. All he said was a great big old white thing standing behind me. So that's when I learned that God will send his angels, and that he had angels watching over me. So I thank God on today for salvation. He saved me, because I couldn't do nothing with that joker. 6 feet 2, I couldn't do nothing with them. I couldn't do nothing with them. I tried to fight back and stuff. And see, the Bible teaches us that we ain't fighting with knives and guns and stuff like that. You know, I tried to fight back like that. That don't work. But when I fought in the spirit, when I called on the Lord, just like they talk about Jesus when the people came in the Garden of Gethsemane to take him away, and Peter took out his sword and cut one of the people ears off, and Jesus told Peter to put up his sword. He said, I could have called 10,000 angels. Glory to God. And see, we got angels. You know, God sent his angels to watch over us and to protect us. So that's what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about, that's one of the situations I'm talking about God saved me from. That's why I serve him. That's why I serve him. That is why I serve him, because he's a good God. And he delivered me out of a situation that I thought I was going to have to die out of in order to get out of. So y'all, God bless you. Please like this video by giving it a thumbs up. Please share it. Excuse how I look, but it is what it is. God bless you, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video as it relates to being saved and brought out and set apart. Amen.